Question number 264, Shri Sanjay Sadashiv Mandlik.
Table of the House.
264.
माननीय मंत्री जी,
Sir, a statement is laid on the table of the House.
माननीय सदस्य।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, देश का नागरिक विमान उद्योग तीव्र गति से बढ़ रहा है और यह विश्व का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा घरेलू नागरिक विमान बाजार बन गया है। महोदय, मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी से आपके माध्यम से जानना चाहता हूँ कि विमान यात्रियों की वृद्धि के बावजूद एयर इंडिया का मार्केट शेयर घट रहा है और सरकार द्वारा लगातार कोशिशों के बावजूद भी एयर इंडिया के घाटे में जा रहा है। इसका क्या कारण है और सरकार एयर इंडिया के खर्चों को कम करने के लिए तथा एयर इंडिया को मुनाफे में डलाने के लिए क्या कदम उठा रही है?
Sir, the honorable member has focused on two aspects. One is the growing domestic civil aviation market, and the second is the situation of Air India. Insofar as the domestic civil aviation market is concerned, sir, I would like to inform the honorable member that except for the 4-month period around April when Jet Airways ceased operation, the domestic civil aviation market has been growing at a combined annual growth rate of approximately 17%. So there is a very healthy growth in the domestic market. Also, I want to place in perspective some of the narrative out in the marketplace. After Jet ceased operations, the number of aircraft in the skies has not diminished. In fact, when Jet Airways was flying, at that period we had 540 aircraft in the Indian aviation sector. Today we are between 560 and 580, and we are in fact adding airplanes every month. So the domestic market has not been affected too adversely, because the other carriers have been able to pick up the business vacated by Jet Airways. Insofar as the loss of Air India is concerned, or the profitability or the financial crunch is concerned, I would like to mention to the honorable member that it is not just Air India. If I were to be asked a question, which I had been in the Rajya Sabha, which I did not have an opportunity to answer, but it's in the written answer also, but most of the Indian airline companies are in fact facing financial difficulties, almost all of them. And there are several reasons for this. Approximately 40% of the operating cost of an airline is made up of aviation turbine fuel. The tax VAT on ATF in some states is as high as 28 to 30%. Then in addition, there is the price of crude internationally, exchange rate fluctuations, and we have an interesting situation where everyone, the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, the airports, the lessors, they are all insulated against risk and they all make money. In fact, Boeing and Airbus, I'm sure, are doing extremely well financially. The airports are doing very well. But the airlines which are running the operations are all operating on very thin margins, because they have very high capital costs and they have a lot of uncertainty due to variables which I just mentioned. For instance, the closure of Pakistani airspace has resulted in Air India cumulatively taking a loss of something like 430 crores of rupees since the airspace was closed. Then, whenever there is a civil disturbance somewhere or there are geopolitical factors, insurance premium goes up. So all I can say is that we are in a situation where Air India's operating loss this year, that is the financial year which is closing March 31, 2019, these are provisional figures, but I hope to get the audited figures also within the next few days, is something over 7,000 crores. So the government is committed to the strategic disinvestment of Air India. That is a given, and we hope this time, as soon as we have the provisional figures and as soon as the alternate mechanism for the disinvestment of Air India is set in motion, we will start the process for the strategic disinvestment of Air India, because we believe that government's scarce resources should be utilized in other development schemes, and this is an area where privatization or disinvestment will work. Thank you.
माननीय सदस्य,
मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी से ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि विगत वर्ष के दौरान एयर इंडिया के बोलीदाताओं को आकर्षित करने में सरकार असफल होने के क्या कारण है, और सरकार द्वारा नए सिरे से एयर इंडिया की बिक्री की तैयारी के क्या कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं?
माननीय मंत्री जी, माननीय मंत्री जी।
Sir, I would like to inform the honorable member through you that it is not government which has failed to attract passengers. Air India, in fact, is a first-class asset. Air India has 125 planes. It owns half of them. It is flying to something like 40 international directions, 80 domestic destinations. It is doing extremely well. The problem is that it has now taken an unsustainable debt burden. It is the servicing of that debt burden which is the problem insofar as Air India is concerned. Now, when we go to disinvest this time, we would have learned lessons. There was a consultant who was appointed, Ernst & Young. We have a report from them. We have done our internal studies. And maybe some of the mistakes we made the last occasion, like wanting to retain 24% of the shares, wanting to do some other things, I think we will not make that mistake again. But that's not a decision which the minister has to announce from the floor of parliament. That's a decision which the alternate mechanism will take as soon as it is established. I can also tell you, sir, and through you, the honorable member, that in fact, after Jet ceased operation, Air India becomes an even more attractive acquisition. Apart from its inherent strength, it also has excellent civil aviation access to foreign routes, and I'm convinced that this time around, we will make the effort to reach out to potential investors, those who have already identified themselves, and we are in the process of drawing up a list of others who would be potentially interested, and I'm sure the disinvestment of Air India this time will succeed, as has been on the cards for quite some time.
श्री विद्युत बरन मोतो।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय। सबसे पहले मैं आपको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। मंत्री जी विस्तार रूप में जवाब दिए हैं, परंतु एयर इंडिया देश में बेहतर हवाई सेवा दे रही है, परंतु उप कंपनी के घाटे में होने के कारण संचालन में कठिनाई आ रहा है। मेरा प्रश्न है कि क्या सरकार एयर इंडिया के प्रयोग में आने वाली ज़मीन या अन्य अप्रत्यक्ष संसाधनों का माध्यम से अपनी वित्तीय सकत सुधारने की कोई योजना बनाएगी, स्थिति को सुधारने का कोई योजना बनाएगी?
Sir, Air India, as I mentioned, is not only in and of itself a first-class asset as an airline company, but as the written answer to the question says, it also has some other very valuable assets. There are, I believe, 111 parcels of land, out of which I think 30 have been sold, 81 will be put up for sale, and I can mention to the honorable member that amongst these valuable assets are the Air India building at Nariman Point. There is Sitco land in Navi Mumbai, which is 25 acres. There are other retail parcels. There's a parcel of land at Baba Kharak Singh Marg, 3.5 acres. There's a property at Vasant Vihar, which is 30 acres. My assessment, and this is based on the analysis I've seen, Air India could raise something like 7,000 crores from the sale of these assets which I have mentioned. So yes, a mention also comes in the press sometimes about some very valuable art that Air India owned. And I want to inform the honorable member through you, sir, because that's also a very valuable asset, that a curator has been through the entire list. It has all been arranged and properly packaged. And this Air India's paintings and other art will be given to the National Gallery of Modern Art as part of an Air India collection, which we will hope to establish very soon, sir.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 267 को भी क्लब करें श्री राजेश भाई चुड़ासना। आप लिखित में दे दें, मूल प्रश्नकर्ता लिखित में दें। राजेश भाई चुड़ासना, श्री मनीष तिवारी जी।
Speaker sir, with your permission, I would just like to make 3 quick points before I ask my question to the Honourable Minister. Number 1, the disinvestment of Air India in the May of 2018 collapsed. Number 2, in reply to a question on the 27th of June 2019, Mr. Speaker, sir, the minister has stated that for the past 3 years, all the 7 verticals of Air India are making profit. So therefore, for the past 3 years, all the 7 verticals of Air India have been making profit. Now, if you were to read that fact in juxtaposition with the answer given today, and Mr. Speaker, sir, may I just read out 3 or 4 lines of that answer, because that's very germane. Government has approved a revival plan for Air India with financial support, which focuses on building a competitive and profitable airline group. The financial support inter alia includes a cash support of rupees 3,975 crore to Air India, transfer of debt amounting to rupees 29,464 crore from Air India Limited to a special purpose vehicle, that is Air India Assets Holding Limited Company, providing government guarantee of rupees 7,600 crores to Air India Financial Limited and rupees 1,300 crore to SPV to meet the interest for Q3 and Q4 of financial year 2018-19 on the debt transfer to the SPV. Also, the entire debt of the special purpose vehicle would be serviced by the government for the financial year 2019-20, for which 2,600 crore has been provided. Sir, my question. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, if Air India has been making profit for the past 3 years, and the government has created a special purpose vehicle whereby the debt of Air India has been taken off the table, what is the rationale then for the disinvestment of Air India?
Yes. Sir, I would like to inform the honourable member that the fact that the attempt to privatize in Air India or disinvest it in May 2018 did not succeed. That is a fact. Whether I would use a word like collapsed or not is something that I can discuss with the honourable member later. Air India today, if you retire all the debt, what I had said earlier, that when the previous alternate mechanism was established, it had been decided to retire 29,000 crores of the debt and transfer it to the special purpose vehicle. That is not to suggest, I would like to inform the honourable member, that that is the entire debt. The debt today of Air India clearly visible is 58,000 crores. Then if you look at the books, there's probably another 20,000 crores somewhere there. This year alone, as I mentioned to the honourable member in a response to an earlier repartee, the Air India is the provisional figures which I have is a loss of 7,365 crores. Now the honourable member should know that it is entirely possible to run several verticals profitably and still not make money because you've got an unsustained huge debt burden to service that debt. Then on top of that, you come against other factors, which are the cost of ATF, airspace, additional expenditure and obligations you have to take. So government has decided, for whatever reason, this is not a situation of our making. Government has decided to privatize it.
आप मंत्री जी इनका दूसरे सवाल का जवाब मत देना, ठीक है? श्री गोपाल शेट्टी जी,
The government has all the policies. I'm answering my own question. Sir, out of the profit-making subsidiaries of Air India, ground handling is clearly profitable. Air India Express is profitable. AI SATS is profitable. These are the 3 profit-making verticals. Insofar as the...
माननीय मंत्री जी, आप हर सवाल का जवाब मत दो। गोपाल शेट्टी जी।
अध्यक्ष जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
माननीय सदस्य का अंकित
अध्यक्ष जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
गोपाल शेट्टी जी।
अध्यक्ष जी, मैं हैरान हूँ इस बात से, कुछ एयर इंडिया एयरलाइंस प्रॉफिट कर रही है और कुछ एयरलाइंस जो बहुत सालों से एस्टेब्लिश है वो घाटा कर रही है। निशिकांत दुबे जी के साथ में फाइनेंस कमेटी में काम करने का कुछ मुझे मौका मिला, कुछ बात पब्लिक डोमेन में जो सुनने के लिए मिल रहा है। ये एयरलाइंस कंपनी के लोग जो विदेश से जो प्लेन खरीदते हैं वो बहुत ऊंचे भाव से खरीदते हैं, और बंगाल से जो शब्द आया कटमनी, वो कटमनी वहाँ पर लेकर ये उतने ही दाम पर यहाँ पर बैंक से लोन लेते हैं। तो एक लाख कंपनी, 1 लाख का अगर एयरलाइंस हो तो 2 लाख का अगर परचेस करोगे तो 2 लाख का ब्याज लोन लोगे यहाँ पर, तो उसका इंटरेस्ट तो बढ़ने वाला है, घाटे में ही जाने वाला है कंपनी। तो मैं सरकार से चाहूँगा, और मंत्री जी बहुत सक्षम है क्योंकि उनको ब्रीफिंग लेने की आवश्यकता पड़ती नहीं है, वो तो इस सिस्टम से आए हुए, तो जो कंपनियां प्रॉफिट करती है उसकी वजह क्या है, और इतनी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां लॉस करती है उसका वजह क्या है? जो बात मैं कह रहा हूं वो सही है क्या? अगर वो सही है तो उसका इंक्वायरी करके ऐसे लोगों के ऊपर ताबड़तोड़ मुकदमा चलाकर उनको जेल के दरवाजा दिखाना चाहिए। और जो कंपनियां अच्छा करती है उनको सरकार ने समर्थन करना चाहिए। जेट जैसा कंपनी, अध्यक्ष जी हम फाइनेंस में काम करते थे तो वहाँ की चेयरमैन आके कहा हम इतना प्रॉफिट करते हैं उतना प्रॉफिट करते हैं। अगर बंद कर दिया आपने तो एसबीआई ने लेकर उसको क्यों चलाना नहीं चाहिए? सरकार ने इस प्रकार का मैकेनिज्म क्यों नहीं चलाना चाहिए? आपने इतने बड़े पैमाने पे बैंक का लोन दे दिया उनको, और पूरा ये एयरलाइंस कंपनी को लेकर क्यों बैंक चलाकर पब्लिक को सुविधा देती नहीं है? इतने बड़े देश में इतनी बड़ी कंपनियां बंद पड़ गई है और हम लोग सिर्फ डिबेट करते रहते हैं। मैं मंत्री महोदय से जानना चाहूंगा कि जेट को आप तुरंत एयर इंडिया को दे दो या तो इंडिगो को दे दो, जो भी अच्छा कंपनी काम करती है उनको देकर पब्लिक को सुविधा मिलना चाहिए। इसके बारे में मंत्री जी क्या करने वाले हैं?
Providing facilities to the traveling public is certainly a concern of the government, but government does not make the business model for private airline operators. Private airline operators conduct their own businesses, they take loans, they have agreements. If two partners in a private business enterprise fall apart, it is not for the government to step in. Yes, government will take other safeguard actions. Government interferes from time to time to ensure that airfares do not go up. And we do that. We have succeeded. In fact, airfares on the trunk routes on Delhi, Mumbai have not gone up for the last 20 years. It's still 5,100 rupees. And honorable members often ask me to say a certain question has been wrongly given. They perhaps don't even read the question they ask or the exact wording. But if there is an answer which is capable of being interpreted in a different way, sir, government has no intention of stepping in to sort out the finances of private operators. Insofar as government is concerned, insofar as Air India is concerned, we have taken a conscious decision to privatize the operation because the debt it has incurred over a period of time. We can have a separate discussion. I'd be happy to point out as to why we have reached that impasse. It's not a situation of our making. It's been happening for many years. It is not in government's and the people's best interest that scarce government resources are used for this purpose. Those can be used for development purposes, but we will privatize in a manner that we get a very good return on Air India and that it remains in Indian hands, because that the Indian public will benefit. Whether the airline is ultimately purchased by another Indian entity or some new entities which come into the airline, etc., it's not for me to speculate. Government will take those decisions as soon as the alternate mechanism has been established.
Question number 265.